2. Chapter 1. The Ottoman Empire and the British Mandate. Pre-1947. Visual. The map color changes to reflect the Ottoman Empire up to 1917. Then, the borders shift as the British Empire takes control. A label appears. British Mandate for Palestine 1920 to 1948. Two distinct icons pop up, one representing the growing Jewish immigrant population fleeing persecution in Europe, and another representing the existing Arab population. In the early 1900s, this region was part of the Ottoman Empire, inhabited mostly by Arab Muslims and Christians, alongside a small Jewish minority. After World War I, Britain took control of the land under a League of Nations mandate. During this time, the Zionist movement seeking a national homeland for Jewish people gained momentum, leading to waves of Jewish immigration. As the population grew, tensions and violent clashes escalated between Arab and Jewish communities over the future of the land. 3. Chapter 2. The UN Partition Plan 1947. Visual. The map flashes to the year 1947. The single color splits into a patchwork quilt of two distinct colors, for example, blue for the proposed Jewish state, orange for the proposed Arab state. Jerusalem is highlighted in bright yellow with a circle around it. Unable to resolve the conflict, a war-weary Britain handed the problem to the newly formed United Nations. In 1947, the UN proposed Resolution 181, partitioning the land into separate Jewish and Arab states. Jerusalem, sacred to Jews, Muslims, and Christians alike, was to be an international zone administered by the UN. Jewish leaders accepted the plan. Arab leaders rejected it, arguing it violated the rights of the majority population. 4. Chapter 3 to 1948. War and the first major shift. Visual. The UN lines dissolve. Red arrows flash inward from neighboring countries Egypt, Jordan, Syria, Iraq toward the blue areas. The blue area expands outward, absorbing parts of the orange territory. The remaining orange areas shrink into two specific pockets, one connected to Jordan, the West Bank, and one connected to Egypt, the Gaza Strip. In May 1948, the British Mandate ended, and Israel declared independence. The next day, neighboring Arab states invaded. The 1948 Arab-Israeli War completely redrew the map. When the fighting stopped in 1949, Israel controlled 78% of the former British Mandate. For Palestinians, this period is known as the Nakba, meaning catastrophe, as approximately 700,000 Palestinians were displaced or fled their homes, becoming refugees. The remaining Palestinian territories were occupied by neighboring Arab nations. Jordan took control of the West Bank and East Jerusalem, while Egypt administered the Gaza Strip. Chapter 4. The Six-Day War 1967. Visual. The map timeline fast-forwards to 1967. In a swift animation, Israel's color expands to engulf the West Bank, East Jerusalem, the Gaza Strip, the Sinai Peninsula from Egypt, and the Golan Heights from Syria. The map changed radically again in June 1967. Amid rising tensions, Israel launched a preemptive strike against Egypt, Jordan, and Syria in the Six-Day War. In a decree, Israel captured the West Bank and East Jerusalem from Jordan, the Gaza Strip, and the Sinai Peninsula from Egypt, and the Golan Heights from Syria. With this shift, Israel began its military occupation of the West Bank and Gaza, bringing millions of Palestinians under Israeli military rule. Chapter 5. The Oslo Accords and the fragmented present. 1993 present. Visual. The Sinai Peninsula fades out, returned to Egypt in 1979. The camera zooms in closely on the West Bank and Gaza. Animation. The West Bank is divided into a complex Swiss cheese pattern of three colors labeled Area A Palestinian control, Area B shared control, and Area C Israeli control. Small dots spread across Area C, labeling them as Israeli settlements. A thick line is drawn around the West Bank border labeled the separation barrier. Gaza is highlighted and encircled by a red border labeled blockade. In the 1990s, the Oslo Accords offered a glimmer of hope for a two-state solution. The Accords divided the West Bank into Areas A, B, and C, establishing the Palestinian Authority to grant Palestinians partial self-governance. However, a permanent peace treaty was never reached. Since then, the map has become highly fragmented. In the West Bank, Israel has steadily built settlements communities for Israeli citizens that are considered illegal under international law. Though Israel disputes this has left Palestinian enclaves isolated from one another. In 2005, Israel pulled its troops and settlers out of Gaza. In 2007, the militant group Hamas took control of the Strip. In response, Israel and Egypt imposed a strict land, air, and sea blockade, severely restricting the movement of people and goods. Outro. The core issues today. Visual: the camera pulls back out to show the modern, fractured map of Israel, the West Bank, and Gaza. The key friction points pulse on screen: Jerusalem, settlements, borders, and refugees. Today, looking at the map reveals why peace remains so elusive. The conflict is frozen over several core issues. Where should the permanent borders be drawn? What happens to the millions of Palestinian refugees? Who will control Jerusalem, which both sides claim as their capital? And can a secure Israel coexist alongside an independent, viable Palestinian state? Until those questions are answered on the ground, the lines on this map will remain a source of profound struggle. Visual: fade to black. Turn on text. Learn more about the history of the region by checking the resources below.